Hi, my name is Brandy. I am going to be having a little short presentation here about the Hmong culture and a few of the things I'll be touching on: religion, holidays, language, how they kind of compare with the American culture, and what kind of things to look for in the main future and how to engage with them a little bit more appropriately. According to books and sociologists, verbal and nonverbal communication is hugely important. It not only allows you to converse with different languages and people from different cultures, but also to understand them and understand where they're coming from and how they want us to perceive their message given. As far as how to show respect and things like that, we'll get into that really shortly here, as with the Hmong culture. First off, I want to go ahead and start off with the family lifestyles and family roles, because that also, it kind of shows a little difference in the communication there. Family traditions and generations are very important to the Hmong culture. They're very reliable on groups. Some households may have up to 20 people. It is said that the oldest daughter and daughter-in-law are the first to awake and do the house chores. That may or may not be different in your own beliefs and cultures, but that is how the Hmong culture sees that. The one thing I touched on a little bit earlier, but I want to briefly say it again: they work together and such in farming and things on that, and sewing, things like this such. They're very reliable on their groups and households, as I mentioned earlier, to work together and provide for their own families. As far as religions go in the family roles and lifestyles, they have multiple religions, just like us in America. Some of them even have the religion of the Lutheran and Catholic and such as us as well. Now, when we get into the material culture, I'm going to briefly touch on some of their clothing and their aspects of maybe why they do these and when they do these and where and what they wear. Men are said to wear black pants with red or colored bands and a black shirt. Also can sometimes wear a white vest over the top of that. Women are said to wear, on certain occasions, not I guess every day around the house, but are said to wear colorful headbands, multicolored shirts, long pants, and beaded skirt held up by the red band. Some younger generations too do wear like the silver metal type beading down the skirts as well. However, in the younger generations, many of them are wearing the same styles as what we have in the USA today, going very closely in that aspect. To touch more on the language and what we're all very interested on with the communication oral that we're learning today, it started in southern China about 2,000 years ago for the Hmong culture. Verbally, they typically have two different main dialects. Non-verbally, they have different ways of showing respect and showing respect to their elders, which is huge. We all need to know why these things happen, so we know what is going on and how they're doing the things and why they're doing the things they're doing when we're speaking to us. One of the ways they show respect is not to look you in the eye. Not something you typically would remember as an American culture. In our American culture, we are said to look at each other in the eye to show each other respect. If we're not, we don't seem like we're engaging. We don't really know for sure if that person that we're talking to is getting the message we're receiving. But as far as the Hmong language goes, is knowing to not look each other in the eye. And that is huge for when it comes to workforces, medical fields. That's the biggest thing. It opened my eyes to a whole new attitude about how cultures may react. When we're looking at the Hmong person in the eye in the Hmong culture, they might think it's disrespectful that we're looking at them like that, but hopefully they know us as well, that is how we work it in America as well. Next, we'll touch briefly on their activities. They have their Hmong New Year, which is something that they celebrate on their own, and once a year. It's just like we have our own New Year. This is where you'll typically see the women wearing those nice colorful beaded shirts and things like that, such are the skirts and the overalls and things like that. that Hmong culture is used annually in places where select areas of the Hmong cultures are actually bigger and modified. But they come together on these celebrations and they enjoy things as much like we do in our celebrations, but foods, dance, musics, other forms of entertainment of their choices. But really, they take these times and sit down and really celebrate and give thanks and welcome the spirits and traditionally just kind of go look back at all the generations. So the new generations, the younger generations, don't forget where they came from and how things began for that culture. Um, Overall, these are just some briefly overtouch of the Hmong culture that are seem so little that we don't seem to look at every day, but they yet can be so big. Hmong culture is just one of the many cultures and beliefs and different areas that are very important for us to see. And now I see that in the oral culture, how important that is to pay attention to. Once we get to engage and learn a little bit about each individual culture, we not only can engage with them, like I said in the previous beginning, but also be able to understand them and understand where they're coming from. It's going to make everyday life easier. I think the oral and the sociology, everything's going to pay off in the end because overall we do need to learn different ways of why people do things. It's just so interesting. And someday the people that are taking the time to learn these different things are going to engage with the overall cultures and everyone will have a better understanding. Thank you.